Hello. What if I were to tell you that the world has ran out of gas and oil? Would you panic? Fossil fuels are destroying our Earth and will soon destroy the planet. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, fossil fuel supplies 85% of the nation's energy. Good afternoon. We will be discussing fossil fuels, its effect on the environment, and the importance of moving away from fossil fuels to an alternative, cleaner fuel. First, I'll explain a little bit about fossil fuels and how we mine them. There are three major forms of fossil fuel: coal, oil, and natural gas. Today we'll only focus on two of them, coal and oil. Coal is called a fossil fuel because it's formed from remains of vegetation that grew as long as 4 million years ago. The most important element in the plant material is the carbon, which gives the coal its energy. Oil is formed primarily from decaying bodies of billions of tiny marine organisms. Now that you know a little bit about how coal and oil is formed, I'll tell you a little bit how they are refined. Here are some of the ways these fossil fuels are processed. Oil is drilled, but before that, the energy company has to come out and survey the land and see how much they can get from that piece of land. Once that's done, the site is prepared, the earth is removed, then they drill down into the pocket of oil and they extract it up to the surface. Coal can be mined in two different ways: underground and on the surface. Underground mining is done with ventilating shafting, and they dig down underground with machine workers, and then they bring the coal back up to the surface. Up to 2/3 of the world's coal is produced that way. Surface mining is done a little bit differently. The coal is close to the surface, so all they do is bring machineries in and tear up the land and get the coal that way, destroying everything. It's sort of like some people call it strip mining, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now that we know something about fossil fuels, let's move into how they affect the environment. Crude oil is refined to create numbers of different types of oil or fuels. Petroleum gas, butane, propane, methane, gasoline, diesel, kerosene, and most lubricating oils. I'd like to take a minute for everybody to think about all the different think of some things that they use as a byproduct of oil. Okay, did you think of something? Well, all those and the things that I mentioned, these gases and oils contain hydrocarbons. When these gases and oils are burnt, carbon byproducts are produced, which are put back into the atmosphere, feeding the overgrowing carbon footprint on Earth. Not only is oil dangerous in its butane form, it's also dangerous in its crude form too. And I'll give you some examples here. In February 1996, the oil tanker ran aground off the coast of southwest Wales, dumping an estimated 72,000 tons of crude oil into the sea. In 1989, Exxon spilled an estimated 10.9 million gallons of crude oil into the sea off Alaska, the largest oil spill in U.S. waters today. These are only two examples of oil spills that occur too often. Since 1967, over 40 major oil spills have been recorded, ranging from as little as 30,000 gallons to over 40 million gallons spilled. Strip mining is another form of destroying our Earth and the atmosphere. Strip mining is a form of mining coal. Mining companies remove the land no matter what, destroying the natural habitats and aiding to the destruction of the Earth's surface. In West Virginia, more than 300,000 acres of hardland forests and 1,000 miles of streams have been destroyed. This is just one case of strip coal mining. Emissions is another type that destroys our atmosphere and contributes to the greenhouse effect. Emissions come from all these petroleum-based products that we just named. According to EPA data, annual carbon dioxide emissions from coal-fired coal-fired power plants are greater than the emissions from our cars and trucks and planes and other forms of transportation combined. 34% of all natural gases or greenhouse gases emissions in the U.S. come from coal, making coal the king of carbon. So now we know what fossil fuels do and how they contribute to society, but also there are negative impacts to the earth. So what are some alternatives? Well, there's a couple alternatives. One of them is hydrogen. Hydrogen is one of the two alternate fuels that we'll talk about today. Let's first look at hydrogen opposed to gasoline. One of the Earth's abundant gases is hydrogen. When it's combined with oxygen, it forms water, H2O. What if I told you there is a vehicle out there right now that uses hydrogen as its fuel and eliminates nothing but clean water from its exhaust pipes? No carbon monoxide, no hydrocarbons, none of that. You might not believe me. To get usable hydrogen, you must take water and split it into atomic components using electricity. Then the hydrogen would be used to fuel the car. There are some pros and cons. One of the pros is it will decrease the greenhouse effect. One of the cons is basically it's very limited. There's very limited places that you can get this, and also it's still very expensive to make. Another alternative we can look at is wind power, and it's also natural energy. Wind power uses air or wind to produce this energy by turning the windmill. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, wind energy is one of the lowest priced reusable energy technology available today, costing between 4 and 6 cents per kilowatt. When using 1,000 watts for 1 hour, that is 1 kilowatt. That would mean running a 25-watt light bulb for 40 hours for 6 cents. Really cheap. But we have discussed what fossil fuels are, where they come from, how we use them, and how they affect the earth. I have shown you alternatives to fossil fuels like hydrogen and wind power. I'm hoping in the future you decide to use an alternative fuel or energy. Then, and only then, can we cut down on polluting the earth. But in order, we need to take action now. To do this, we need to support alternative fuel development, change our everyday lifestyles, by turning down your heat, sharing a ride to work. Then we will start reducing our overall carbon footprint. Maybe one day take a step into the future and purchase an alternative fuel-based vehicle. Then maybe in the future our children's children can enjoy a less polluted earth. Thank you.